Welcome to Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I definitely hope to get off. Today we are doing open lines. For those of you who are new to listening, open lines is when I have fans of the podcast or people who just have something that they have to get off their chest come on the show and we talk. We talk about fetishes, kinks, just a little bit of everything. And today I am talking to Joe, who reached out to me via Instagram and told me about his armpit fetish. So of course I was intrigued because it's something that I've noticed more and more. I meet a lot of guys with some really, really nice armpits. So, Joe, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for being brave enough to do it. I know it's out of a comfort level sometimes. So,
thanks. I'm excited to talk about it.
Good. Okay, so when we say armpit fetish, what exactly does that mean to you?
I guess it's partially, look, partially aroma, and definitely sexualized.
Do you sexualize men, like the minute they put their arms up, you're looking at armpit hair?
Yeah, I fucking love it. Like at the gym, the ellipticals are right along where the machines are that have the lap pools. Mm-hmm. And I always get on a machine that's right there because you can see everybody when they pull up and you can see their armpits, and it's inspiring.
It makes you keep going.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So Joe, let's get right into it. Where and when did you grow up?
I grew up in the Midwest. I was born in early 70s. So, anyways, sort of a standard small town upbringing, and then, sort of a different time if we're talking about, hairy men.
Mm-hmm. Did you grow up in or out of the closet?
Well, I'm married actually.
Oh, okay. So you're married to a woman? Well. The plot thickens.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me what, all right. That's a whole other episode altogether. Thank you very much. No, but before we get into the armpit stuff, let's, okay. So you are married. Okay. So how would you describe yourself? Sexually, are you
definitely bi?
Okay, so you're bi. Does your wife know?
I think she has an idea, but it's never been on the table.
No. Okay. Do you think she'd be open to it? Like if you were like, hey, let's bring someone in.
Definitely not.
Really? Okay. Did you guys meet in this town that you grew up, or?
We actually met in college.
Okay.
Yeah. I had experimented a little bit at that point.
Okay. And then at one point did you finally say, okay, well, this is the girl for me, and I'm going all in?
I think about the time I graduated from college, it had, I'm trying to figure out how to answer that. It certainly was a good pairing for me. And I think when you're bi, there's probably no perfect pairing, right? Because there's always one or the other that's excluded in that choice. But it's been a good life. I'm happy with what I have in life, and just a little complicated sometimes.
Yeah, complicated in what sense? Do you find yourself? Have you in the past, or do you find yourself getting out of your marriage and going to, let's say, a guy?
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
More complicated with COVID, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. But before then, up until COVID and before.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say regularly?
Semi-regularly. How's that for not answering the question?
well, I mean, we're jumping into a lot here, so it's how you want to answer it. But I am intrigued because I do know that originally at first I thought maybe you were going to say, as opposed to bi, that you were straight, but maybe 20% gay or something. Because I do believe in ratios, and I think it was Kinsey who started that.
Right. Kinsey scale.
Yeah, the Kinsey scale. So I do believe in that, and because I've met people who are 100% straight, never touched a dick and never will, and have no problem with it, but it's just not for them. And then I've met people who are 80% straight and kind of like, okay, well, yeah, sure. I've had a threesome and a dick has touched my dick and I'm okay with it. And, you know, I've put one in my mouth. And so you just never know. But okay, in your situation, you are bi, you are in a marriage and you like men. Do you like women's armpits as well? Or is it just,
it's just men.
Just men, huh?
I think it's a couple things, you know, the hairy thing is part of it. So that's more likely a man. And there's definitely an aroma aspect to it. Like I don't know how to say this. If, you know, dudes who are really nasty, that smell doesn't do it for me. But just a little bit of like man funk is like fucking crack.
Is it like man funk out of the gym, but you showered beforehand, so you're not going to offend my nostrils with...
Yeah, you're not going to make me gag and puke.
Yeah. Okay. I can understand that. Do you have brothers?
I'm sorry?
Do you have older brothers or younger brothers or?
Older brothers.
Okay. How much older?
4 and 7 years older.
Did you share rooms?
No.
Okay, so you had your own rooms. Okay, so the reason why I ask is because I had an older cousin, and he was 2 years older, and he went through puberty before me. So it was very intriguing to watch him become kind of a young man before me, and kind of wishing like, oh wow, like that's really cool. He's got hair on his legs. He's got. So did you happen to have that with your brothers at any point?
Gosh, I don't really remember that. I do remember, you know, that issue at school, like in gym class. You know, the guys who sprouted hair before others were definitely, you know, I guess we were all jealous or, you know, envious. Because you have to remember, I'm old enough where hairy men was the standard of masculinity. You know, Tom Selleck, David Hasselhoff, you know, that was the movie star. You know, now men shave and everything, but that was the thick, hairy chest was what we all wanted because you look like a man, quote, end quote.
Magnum PI and all that stuff like you see.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Okay.
I never missed an episode.
What about friends? What about like your friends growing up? Were you ever intrigued by other, I mean, you said you see the one sprouting and stuff, but at an early age, did you ever try to like look in someone's shirt underneath and see if you can see their armpits or?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, dudes who wore tank top were just like amazing. And, you know, I think even when I was younger, the kind of guy I was attracted to was probably like in their 30s or so, because I think that's when they, you know, were really, you know, like full hairy chested and, you know, when a guy's t-shirt, you know, his arm hair pit hair was like peeking out it was aphrodisiac. Absolutely.
Did you find
I remember even as a kid in junior high school in gym class, our gym teacher, who was pretty hot actually, and was hairy, muscular. And I remember like we were changing after gym class and he had the coach's office door open while he was changing. And like he pulls his underwear down and he's standing there with his thick, bushy, you know, crotch. And I knew I was staring at him and I couldn't stop myself because it was just unbelievable to me.
Wow. Okay. So you're what, 13 or 14 at this point? Yeah,
right.
And you're staring at 30-year-old men, or like an older guy with you're saying outside of like, that's it. They've grown everything and they're a man at this point.
Right.
So,
and I think that was the start of the armpit thing. Was maybe it's become more specific as I've gotten older. But when I was younger, it was just hairy men.
Okay. So hairy men. Did you find yourself more at that point, right? Were you jerking off to hairy men?
Yeah, at least in my mind, sure.
Okay. As you get older, is it still the same kind of guys that you fantasized when you were younger, or do you find it sometimes it can be a younger man with a lot of hair?
It's funny. I had never thought about that, but it's still sort of that same 30s-ish age range probably is primo for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not, and not like the most picky person in the world in terms of, what's available sometimes when I have some time, but I think in my fantasy mind's eye, it's still that sort of fit 30s, early 40.
That's okay. That's where you go. So, and is it ever, because I always wonder, as you get older, do the guys mature with you? Like, does your fantasy mature with you? Do guys in their 50s and 60s, is that something that you're, like, if they're fit, are you into that as well?
It's funny because when you asked me that question a minute ago, that was what I went to. But if we're talking about my, optimal dream, it stays in that 30 to 40 range. Okay. A fit older, hairy dude, great. But if I have to say, the perfect one for me, it would be in that original 30, early 40s range.
What about porn? Watching porn growing up? Did the sex, the penetration and all that stuff do it for you, or were you looking somewhere else?
Wow, there's a lot to unpack in that question. Well, first of all, I'm old enough, there weren't computers. So when we're talking about watching porn, we're talking about like a VHS tape. So it wasn't kind of easily accessible. I'm old enough that people were buying porno magazines. And definitely I was more intrigued by, that one shot that they always took with a guy's, hands behind his head. So his pits were exposed always. And I don't watch a ton of porn, I don't think. But when I do, it depends on the scene, how much the penetration does it for me. It's probably more your job than mine, how well that's done. Because, you've seen a ton of porn as a professional, and some of it's, just not very enthusiastic or not very interesting. I mean, just the relentless pounding gets boring to me really pretty quickly.
But pretty much anywhere you go could be porn for you.
Absolutely. It's definitely a built-in advantage. Like if somebody's like just into big nuts or something, they have to see a naked man to really get it. But I can get a boner just walking down the street, seeing somebody in a tank top.
Have you, when it comes to acting?
Probably. Sorry.
You probably have. I'm curious. I want you to flesh it out for me. Yeah, sure. What was the first time when you buried your face in a man's armpit? Like,
oh gosh, I can't tell you that I absolutely remember the first time. I mean, I think so. Like I said to you, I had this. It's always been sort of hairy men have interested me from an even really young day, even before I even knew sort of what that meant. And I think I probably experimented with the armpit thing because it was safe, right, at a time when, safety was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I did, it was like, I've never used poppers, but it's what I imagine that must feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like even now, if I'm soft and I stick my face in a guy's pits, especially if they're sort of a little funky, I just like sprout a boner that's just like instant.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I have a boner and I stick it in, bury my face, it's just like about fucking explodes out of the skin. I mean, I've had some guys that were like not into the armpit thing,
mm-hmm.
that got turned on just watching my dick respond to sticking my face in their pits.
Yeah.
just so turned on by my reaction to it. I mean, I've even come hands free before, just like when I was edged up a little bit, stick my face in the hairy pit. It was fucking all over, man.
Have you ever had moments or a hookup where the top in this like sexual encounter, like he's all about you smelling his armpits and like shoving your face in it?
No, I haven't. You see that a lot in porn, to be honest. It's why I have trouble, like the armpit porn, most of it doesn't interest me because it's about like a dom humiliating somebody and making it. And for me, it's not that at all. I've never run across somebody.
I see. So you like the like you want to voluntarily put your face in someone's armpit.
Yeah.
And you want.
And why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have to force me. So.
Do you like the unaware aspect where you're staring at somebody or they're the object of your fetish and they have no idea? Does that turn you on?
It makes it easier because you can sort of stare blatantly and no one imagines that you're staring at their armpit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So like if you're staring at someone's ass or at their package or something, people can tell. But if you're looking at someone's armpit, it never occurs to them that that's what you're looking at.
Have you ever?
Or I imagine that.
Have you ever had somebody like kind of give you, "Oh, what are you looking at?"
No,
really?
That's why I don't think anyone's ever, except that the gym teacher when I was in junior high school. But yeah, no. And it's always interesting in an encounter because it's not like totally freak out at the mainstream, but it's slightly left of mainstream enough that it catches some people off guard.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to, you had mentioned smell, right? You call it funk. You call it a couple of things.
Yeah.
What is the perfect amount? What would you say? We touched on it in a little in the beginning a little bit, but
yeah.
Let's get into the smell factor. 1 being no smell at all, and 10 being 4 days without showering and just marinating in yourself.
Probably a 4. If that's my choice. Like the no smell at all is okay, but it's not optimal. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely when it gets too ripe that it's just nasty up in there. Like fucking take care of yourself, man. But yeah, but definitely the aroma thing definitely impacts it. Like if a guy is just right, it's tantalizing. It's almost takes your breath away.
Yeah, I've not had an armpit fetish, but as we discussed before, it was definitely part of growing up because I did, not to say fantasize, but I did notice like people that were going through puberty before me were growing armpit hair and growing leg hair. So that kind of fueled that aspect of like my between 12 and 14. But it's not until recently that I do notice other people that are interested in armpits and stuff that I was like, oh wow, that's kind of hot. That's really, really hot.
So are you? You're supposed to be asking me questions, but are you naturally hairy? Are you naturally smooth? Are you shaved? What's your personal?
Well, see, that's a good question. That's also, I think, a part of why I was always curious about other people and why I think I was a late bloomer. I'm not. My parents are Caribbean. I don't have a lot of hair. I mean, at least that's how it was explained to me when I was younger. So, I would say I'm moderately hairy when it comes to my arms and stuff, smooth. Mm-hmm. But, I have armpit hair. I have hair on my legs and hair down there, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so you don't trim or much. You don't do much.
If I've ever trimmed my armpits, it's always been literally just a trim where it's, it's still there, but it's not too crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do it sometimes in the summertime. Just
Exactly. In the summer, because if not, I mean, you're going to be out and stuff. And then I also use natural deodorant, which has to be applied. Even, I shower every day, but I have to apply it at least twice because it doesn't have that aluminum or all that parabens and all that stuff. So I find that for myself, I need to apply it. If not, it's going to be one of those days where you're like, oh, I can smell myself,
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
Well, kind of like you said, it's not a bad smell, but it's, it's there. I can, I grew up with this.
That sounds amazing.
Guilt, but when you grow up with this guilt where your parents are like, oh, you can never smell bad. You can never do this. You can never. So that's always, in the back of your head, just the slightest.
Well, of course, it's the definition of what bad is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, bad or embarrassing to your parents is probably very different to kids growing up today. But
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that would hold me back from, taking a whiff and saying, oh, I'm okay. Like no one's gonna smell me. I smell myself, but that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I've looked at armpits. So it's always really, really cool to get another, not opinion, but another, the way somebody else thinks about this.
Well, there's definitely a stigma.
Okay, so
I feel like there is.
So you feel there's a stigma attached to being an armpit lover?
Yeah, definitely. Because as you just said, your parents taught you, that's dirty and smells, and that's like a bad thing. And even the word fetish is slightly, stigmatizing, right? Because fetish is, out of the ordinary, abnormal, and so I do think there's a stigma attached to it. And sometimes if I want to like stick my face in a guy's pits, they're like grossed out by it.
Interesting. I would when you do meet guys and you do, well, first and foremost, any other kinks and fetishes that will go along with this, like the guys that you're meeting, are you meeting them? You're not meeting them predominantly to say, oh, I want to put my face in your armpit.
Right.
So when you are meeting these guys, what's the primary objective?
To get off.
But are you having full on penetrative anal sex, or is it blowjobs, or is it something else? Is it feet? Is it like?
Rarely penetration, just because I'm not. How to say this? It's hard enough to meet up, let alone meet up in a situation where you can pull that off. And so, masturbation, blowjob, kind of down that road. I had some guy that I met up with a number of times who was really into feet. So he was really into worshiping my feet and stuff. And it's not my thing, but it was hot to me how hot it was to him. So.
Okay. So you get it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think anything can be an aphrodisiac. It just depends how you're wired.
Well, but I mean, like you didn't feel the need to, like, it's not your thing, but you're able to
participate. Yeah,
exactly, and you're able to help somebody out, just like they're helping you out.
Sure, absolutely.
Like this guy that likes feet. Did he have any problem with you putting your face in his armpit, or?
No, not at all.
Do you have regulars? Do you have somebody like, that you meet for the most part?
Not right now.
No? Okay.
I have over the years, but not right now.
Like, and by that, I just mean people who you can, it's kind of a relationship where you understand what they like and they know what you like. And
that's something not right now.
Okay.
But I have in my history.
When was the last time you had your fantasy fulfilled?
Yesterday.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it hasn't been that bad. I'm assuming vaccinations and all that shit. And,
yeah. Well, I take far fewer chances, but I happened to take a chance yesterday. So
Okay, what was that like? I mean,
Masks,
you're fresh. You're fresh off. You got to tell me what that was like.
Well, masks are no friend to somebody with a pit fetish. So, there's a place near work.
Okay,
it's one of those video places, and every once in a while I run in the back, and there happened to be actually a couple of really hot guys. The three of us were playing together, and I got one to pull his shirt up and stuck my face. These nice hairy pits. The perfect smell, man. They were fucking perfect. And it didn't take long, man. My face buried in there. I had a huge load too, because it's been a while. And the other guy was lapping it up when I started to shoot. So it was pretty on fire.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good hookup.
It was a great hookup, sort of my face in these hairy, hot, and he was kind of a thick, I would say probably in his mid-20s, fit but thick, hairy chest, really hairy pits, and this sort of muscular black guy who was sucking me at the same time. Man, it was pretty amazing.
When you were face deep in his armpit, was he sweaty?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you like sweaty?
Yeah, actually I do. The wet armpit is amazing. Yeah, it's really nice.
The way it hits your face, right? Because I'm assuming it's going to touch your nose. It's all wet.
Yeah, exactly right. So the way the tactile feel of it is nice, and of course, when it's wet, it usually has a little funk with it.
Mm-hmm. What about the guy when you put your face in his armpit? Was he like into it? Was he like moaning? Was he?
Yeah, he was pretty into me. I think the pits weren't necessarily his thing because I kept sort of pulling up his shirt trying to get to them, and he wasn't. I don't know. He wasn't sort of going along. But eventually, when I got him to do it, he sort of went with it because he could. Again, it's like these guys. It's the right guy. If somebody's like turned on, they get into how I respond. Mm-hmm. Right, even if it's not their thing, just seeing how ramped up I get by it.
What about his chest? You said his chest was hairy too. Do you find yourself also gravitating to the chest, or is it right away to the armpit?
Oh, sure. Hairy chest is nice, man. Definitely nice. Run my hands through it, suck on some nipples, man.
Okay.
And I think with him, I had my face deep in his pits and was using my hands to run it through his chest.
Is there kissing and making out in this, or is it full on just animalistic?
Yesterday, animal exchange.
Okay. Wow, that sounds really hot.
It was. It's pretty hot, actually. Like telling somebody about it is really hot.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to hear it. I was curious. I want to know, what you were feeling at the time it was happening.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I rarely get a hookup that's that good, right, for my particular desires.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like everybody got away. Everybody got what they wanted in that situation.
Everybody in that situation did.
Yeah. What's by far, hands down, been your best encounter, where everything just worked out and you were like, wow, like?
Oh God. The thing that stands out in my mind, I went to one sex party and it was mind blowing. It was at a really, really high end hotel and there were probably 40 guys. They had a suite, it had like 3 rooms in it and it was pretty amazing. And it was like a, Chinese buffet. There was something for everybody there.
And you just walk into rooms and I'm assuming there's booze, maybe some partying, but.
I don't remember partying, although it might well have been. I kind of remember they were all sort of middle-aged professional men mostly, which is sort of what I am. So it was a good group and there wasn't, sometimes sort of the younger, hotter guys, there's some attitude issues and there weren't here and people were just, wide open. And I remember this one guy, I was laying on one of the beds and he was laying next to me, but he was getting slammed and he started to come with this dick in him, and he like was bucking like for fucking wild, man, because he was, you know, he just went nuts when he came with that dick in him, and it's always stuck with me because it was so hot, and you know, he was muscular and hairy, and he had his arms back, and when he started to go like that, I just shoved my face in his pits, and it was one of the times I, you know, shot hands off. You know, I wasn't even touching myself, and the whole scene was so hot, I just started creaming, and oh fuck.
Did you leave after that, or did you hang out? Like, because it sounds like it was one of those days where you were out, like you were out.
Yeah, I think I hung around 4 seconds.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can probably get another one out of that.
Yeah, I reload fairly quickly, actually. So
I'm intrigued, and I'm curious as to how you met you. So you're fully bi.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Okay. So you have no problems pleasing the woman, pleasing the wife, pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about your face in an armpit while you are fucking your wife? If you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay. And do you find that helps?
I'm not sure I would use the word help, because I'm not sure that I need help per se.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? But sometimes that's where my brain is. So go with it, man.
Yeah. I feel like at one point you could probably, have you ever hinted to your wife or said anything, or has she ever hinted?
Maybe a little tiny bit, not very, like on the hint scale of 0 to 10, 1, but not really very much.
The older I get, the more I realize women are much more sexual than I was led off to believe when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, she might be game. I mean, maybe the bisexual thing immediately might not be the case, but the idea. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If let's say, right, in a perfect world, your wife, you convinced her, you found somebody,
mm-hmm.
right, and it was somebody that you thought was really hot too. How would you feel about sharing your wife with another man?
Oh, I would love it.
Yeah?
I would love it, yeah.
Wow, that would be really hot, because you can find a guy,
yeah.
You can pick the guy out. What's your build like? Are you a big guy, rugged, muscular?
I'm pretty fit.
Okay.
I'm not big. I'm not like big, thick steroid muscle. Who's the guy you had on Sean Duran last podcast? I'm not built like that. But I go to the gym regularly. I'm fit.
Are you hairy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever turn yourself on?
Sniffing my own pits sometimes.
Okay, like sniff your own pits, look in the mirror, and look at your armpits, and think, "Wow, man,
yeah." Hot. Turn my head and stick my nose over that way.
Nice.
Maybe sort of lick in that direction. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously, you and your wife have the same taste in guys.
I never thought of it that way.
You can probably, I don't know, if I were you, I like I said, you get a little older and things start to you loosen up some boundaries and stuff, and you never know. I would love to catch up with you and see if that's moved anywhere, because I feel like that would be crazy, crazy hot.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Is there anything else? You want to add to people who are listening and are probably hearing about armpit fetishes for the first time?
Wow. I guess, I just encourage people to be open, as I do for everything. And, even if it's not your thing, the judgment about it is harsh sometimes. And just, chill out. It's not hurting you. So, if a guy wants to stick his face in your pits, what's it? Like, I don't get what it costs you. So why not let them? And keep your fucking pits hairy. It's hot.
It is. I assume you saw. Yeah, no, you did actually. You mentioned it. But after we spoke about the armpits, I had Atlas Grant on a shoot, and Atlas Grant,
he's amazing.
yeah, he's one of the hairiest guys I've ever met, and it's perfect. It's like in the perfect areas and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had him and this new guy, Gianluca, who also has very nice hairy armpits. I don't know if you saw them. I don't know if I got to put that video up. If not, I'll share it with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's a thin Latin guy, nice bushy pair of armpits. And I don't think, yeah, if you don't know who he is, then I definitely didn't put it up. So I'll send it to you. But yeah, I put that video up. I was like, oh, this is great. And you immediately knew it was targeted at you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Well, the more I find out about what people like, the more it's really, really cool, because then you're reaching people in a different way. Like, I can sit there and do the porn template till I'm blue in the face, where it's, suck his dick, eat his ass, and fuck him in 3 positions and then come, which is like the template.
Yeah.
But whenever you let some people go, sometimes they suck on toes, they eat out armpits, there's a lot of different things.
And I said this to you when we were messaging, but I think mostly porn misses the armpit fetish. Either it's about domination and humiliation, or it happens like so fleetingly that it's like, trust me, I'm not just sort of on the way past, like take a quick sniff or quick lift and move on to something else. When I get my face in there, I'm going in. And we usually get one of the only way we see it is normally that's sort of abusive or dominating, or just sort of, passing. Like when you had Vic from Beefcake Hunter on last season, and it got me into watching a lot of his videos. And there's one where this really muscular, hairy guy, and he's up there, licking on this dude's nipples, and the guy's hands are behind his back, and I'm just practically yelling, go to his pits, man, go to his pits. And finally, he just sticks his face in there for just a second. And it was both really gratifying and really disappointing at the same time,
Yeah. It's one of those things where you have what you're tasked to do, or what you think you're tasked to do. So it's very hard for people to get out of that mind frame unless you're working on a website that's specifically for armpits, or and for that there's a whole bunch of people making custom videos and stuff, but you have made me a little more cognizant of going in there and shooting that and asking people if if you like armpits, why don't you play a little bit.
Well, cool. I look forward to seeing the result.
For now, what I've been doing is while I'm shooting, I'll take my camera and hold it up in a different angle or focused on something else, where I can put it on Instagram or Twitter and not have to worry about it being taken down for inappropriate exposure. But yeah, I will from now on. And whenever I do, I'll message you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
No problem. So Joe, I have to thank you so much. I've taken up a lot of your time. I know that we can go more into stuff, and you sound like a really, really cool guy. I'd like to have another conversation with you. My DMs are always open. You know that you can hit me up there. Like I said, I want to thank you so much. Thank you for talking to me about your armpit. Are you okay with calling it fetish? Yeah.
I think that's sort of common, what people call it now.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, a fetish is not a dirty word. Joe, thank you so much for talking to me about your armpit fetish and for being on my first episode of Open Lines for this season 3. For those of you,
it was great, man.
Yeah. And for those of you who are listening for the first time, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande. You can find the podcast on every single directory. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find it on YouTube. And I look forward to bringing you some more stuff. If you have any kinks or fetishes or anything that you want to talk about, please hit me up via email. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you want. I'm available everywhere. Again, Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. Cheers.